All right, let's reset this and let's make the updated tier list. At or above. So this is just gonna be like very, very, very. I'm just gonna do it like this. It's gonna be very like theoretical now. This is not a very serious tier list. This is more like, this is my hard reads. I have not even played many good players with chip since the patch. So like, take this for what it is. It's just fun theory crafting. If we like speculate how the previous changes affect the old tier list kind of way. The reason why it's so hard is because things such as like Nagarayuki and being good, like way better. Because I think Nagarayuki's up here now instead of being 5th best. This changes other characters, right? Characters such as Potemkin who got buffed, right? They might not be as good as you think because like this is the buff list, right? Like characters such as Nagarayuki and let's say Milia, who they might not be as good if you're going to be running into more characters that they lose to, like Leo and obviously still Soul. So let's just first do the copy over. So we're gonna go from the PC tier list since that's we did, but we're just gonna do the raw order first. Chip, I believe the next one was Potemkin. And then I had the next character as, it's not it, Sato. I'm so bad at this. Geo, Milia, Axel, Eno, Kai. Oh, I forgot Ram. Faust. Golu is Anji. Okay, so there's some changes in this tier list, even on just a prediction level, that I want to make. Which is, I probably would put Golu's up here. That was even before the patch. And I would probably do like this as well, pre-patch. I would say, first off, I would move up Anja with these characters because I think his buffs were really big, but not enough to pass any of the other characters. Maybe better than Golu's now, but I don't think Anja's like good still. I still think he's one of the weaker characters. He didn't get any better mix-ups, really. He still has shit mix from Butterfly. Faust is, he's like borderline. The way I would probably do it is I would do like this instead. I would move down some characters. But the problem is that these characters got, wait a minute. These characters got so buffed that I still think these 3 characters are below them. So the tier list looks the same except that it was like this before in terms of those. Like I still think these 3 characters are a step below everyone else. but these 3 were C before and now they're B. So it's still a difference. Right? Like Soul isn't SSS tier anymore. Now for these characters, I would put Eno all the way up here. I would put Potemkin down here. I would put Axel above Milia, and I would put Kai above Geo. Bro, this is so like it is seriously wrong for me. Like, it feels so wrong for me to say that Milia's bottom 4 because I think she's way stronger in this patch. I mean, she is stronger in this patch than before. But I feel like it feels more wrong to say that Geo's bottom 4 and that Axel's bottom 4, and like the mid tier is ridiculously hard to call. I could honestly see a world where this is the tier list, where Milia is the second worst character. And I still think she's amazing. Or I mean, like, not amazing, but like I think she's really good. Like she is not significant. Like, Milia is basically indistinguishable in power level in my opinion from like Kai, Axel, and Geo. Like I think she's the same strength. And they're very close, if not the same, to Ino, Sado, and Pot. Like, this tier, except for Potemkin, is very well balanced. So maybe that means that I should put this up. But it feels wrong to say Milia's bottom 4. I know Elke is turning in the grave. But I seriously think that like Milia is just so much less practical than Geo in tournament. I just dead as think it is. Like, I see so many more good Geos than I see more good Milias. In tournament, yeah. Honestly, I could see a reality where this is the case as well. I could see Kai be A and above Sado. Ino's the hardest call for me. Ino could also be here. I think there's a low-key case for Ino to be low S, like S minus. But it's so hard. Like, these are all indistinguishable, essentially. And yeah, this tier has not changed from the previous tier. I will now rearrange them. Soul is no longer triple S. He's now double S. Congratulations, everyone. I still think Soul's the best. I could, like, even for a character who is second, who I believe was second, and again, I did not think, like, if you look at this list, Soul was triple S and Leia was simply S+. In my opinion, because of the PS4 changes, I don't think Leia was nerfed. I mean, I don't think Leia was buffed. I actually think the input lag changes nerf him arguably more than the back turn K helps. That said, Soul did not get nerfed enough. He was 3 tiers above everyone else. He was like, he basically, in my opinion, had not a single matchup that you could even argue was losing for him. And honestly, I don't think he had a single even matchup either. Like, Nagoriyuki and Leo, I guess, had a case, but like, I thought it was still pretty clear that Soul players, when they learn the matchup, would eventually start winning in that matchup too. Now I think that he might possibly lose to Leo and Nago, but I think there's a really high chance that he still has the best matchup spread in the game, because Leo, for example, loses to Nago. Leo, brand players say, lose to them. Like, we don't know, but like I know that Axel does fine against Leo. I know some people say Geo does fine against Leo. Pod doesn't struggle super hard against Leo, but I know a lot of people say he struggles against like Nago and Soul, for example. There's a lot of stuff like this that we're like, it's really hard to call the exact configuration of the top tier, because we're gonna have to, like, you're not just guessing how much did Leo get buffed like this. Oh, sorry. Where's that fucking like you're not just doing this. This is easy. It's pretty easy to see that like Mei was nerfed less than Soul, who was nerfed less than Chip, in my opinion. Maybe you're like wrong, like, oh no, maybe Soul was in triple lose instead of double minus, right? But like ultimately it's pretty easy easy to call. But this requires you to like speculate on like, well, not only the initial character strength, but also like how much Soul is played matters, because if Soul is super played, then characters that still lose to him, such as like Ino, probably are not as buffed as you thought. You know, stuff like that matters so much. Arguably, Axel could be better now because Nagoriyuki is way better and Leo is way better, and he wins both those matchups. Stuff like that. It's so hard. But yeah, I would say that obviously Chip got really nerfed, triple nerfed. So I think he's around here on PC. I think he could be better than Pot. It's really hard to say. I would say that he is worse than Potemkin only because he loses to Potemkin, which is not super often played, but he loses to Nagoriyuki. No, sorry, not Nagoriyuki. He loses to Soul, Leo, and Mei. And I still think he still loses to those. He actually loses harder to all of them than he did pre-patch, in my opinion. And losing to the 3 best characters is a big deal. Right? I think he wins slightly versus Ram and Nago, but these characters are significantly less popular. Or not less popular, but like I think they're worse. And, you know, like I think he wins these matchups less than he loses these. And again, he still loses to Potemkin. So a character like Potemkin, who I think loses to Nago, and maybe Soul, is still better because he does fine against the others. But yeah, Ramlethal, I would probably say that she's fallen a spot just because other characters got buffed more. But it's really hard to say. I would say she did slightly get buffed though. So I only think she fell behind, like went down because Nago went up. And Mei did not get, like barely get nerfed at all. Remember the page, super slight. But Nago got buffed, so I think he went past. I don't think Nago buffs are as big as to make him better than Leo or in the same tier as Soul, but I do think they put him at 3rd. So this is probably what I would put my Super YOLO guesstimation tier list. Super YOLO guesstimation. Right? It's brand new. We don't know. There could still be huge implications from the patch, and the PS4 change and all that stuff. But this is probably what I would guess, with maybe Chip being up here. Like, Soul and Chip are tied. I mean, sorry, Pot. I guess I'll just write that. Herd Instinct, thanks so much. Is this ordered? Yes. But this is basically not ordered. This is ordered. This is ordered. This doesn't need to be ordered. And this is like super loosely ordered. Now, let's talk about Jack-O. Jack-O is by far and away the hardest character to play in this game. She has 2 meters, gray bar and green bar. She has up to 3 different minions who have health and position. So like when you play Soto, you only keep track of one puppet, right? Which is Eddie. And his health is 1 HP, right? Like if you hit Eddie, he will disappear. And he will always take the same amount of time to recover after he disappears. Jack-O, that's not how easy it is. Every single minion has a different health and a different timer as well. It is not just the bar, because when you play Soto, right, as you use moves and as time passes, his bar goes down. Jack-O, however, the bar doesn't go down because that's not tracking the life. right? So you don't know how much health they have. You just gotta guess. Or not, you don't gotta guess, you just gotta know. And keeping track of that and like knowing that like this one's dying in 8 seconds and I've hit it once, so it's 3 seconds. And then the other one hasn't been hit, I think, by that move, so it's 8 seconds actually. And this other one's is 8.5 because I summoned it right. Like, it gets so complicated. Then she's also just a fast character. Like, she actually has high mobility, which Sato does not have, right? Like, he just has flight. But like, when Sato doesn't have Eddie, he's one of the simplest characters in the game. If you could potentially play a version where you were not allowed to summon Eddie at all, he'd be up there with Giovanna in terms of how simple he is. Jacko is not a simple character if you do not play minions, because she has a lot of weird moves and she moves significantly faster, and she still has like really complicated combos. Assuming obviously you're allowed to, like, you know, use the minion moves for combos. Obviously, like Jacko will never really be in a position where she has 0 meter and not allowed to like combo with it. Her APM is crazy high. Her game win condition is way less clear than even Sato. She basically is, she's not, you know, get a knockdown, stay in until your meter runs out. That's kind of what Sato is, right? And then run out, like, if your minions die, you run away until your Eddie meter comes back, which is still complicated in how you execute with Sato, but fundamentally it's still a simple game plan. Simple but hard, right? Whereas Jacko is like more like, do I want to go in and then summon minions? Do I want to summon them raw? Do I want to jump? Do I want to go ground approach? Do I want to anti-air? Like, do I want to summon with the minions? Do I want to use them and try to get in? Do I want to unsummon and keep... Like, there's so many different choices you can make with her that her win condition becomes incredibly complicated, and her execution is incredibly complicated. Her bread and butter, it's not as weird to do as Sato's negative edge combos, but they're significantly tighter and have way more inputs per second than Sato does, which ultimately I think matters more in the long run, because I think as you get really adjusted to Sato, you know, not the first week, but the first year, you eventually just get used to negative edging and holding down buttons. Whereas with Jacko, I feel like it's far harder to get used to pressing like 3/4 circles a second and just, you know, hitting tight links. That said, how good do I think she is? Now, this is another character with Go Lewis. Last patch, I put a range on him, and I still put him at a range on it because I have not played good Go Lewises. Go Lewises could be anywhere from the worst character in the game to mid tier. So he could be here to here. That's what I said last time I made the tier list. Jacko is a different character. She's so complicated. She will take way more time. The only range I can put on Jacko is that she's not bottom tier. She has clearly strong tools. But she could be anywhere from this good to this good. That is legitimate. I think she could potentially have some almost game-breaking stuff. If I had to guess, I put her here. If I had to guess, if someone put a gun to my head and said, you gotta pick. If you're off by more than one, like if she's not in the right tier, we kill your entire family. I would put her in top tier, not SS. Power couple. True. So I think that I think this is probably how I feel. But this is super YOLO guesstimation. And I'm going to continue learning Jacko. I don't really feel like playing Chip because he just got fucking overly nerfed and now plays more boringly. And I already know how to play him. So I'm going to play Jacko for a bit. And then I'll see who I play. Maybe I'll play Chip. Maybe I'll play Chip and Nagaruki. Maybe I'll just play Jacko. I really like Jacko. Not in terms of, like, I hate her aesthetic, but I really like her, how complicated she is. I have an affinity for hard characters because I hate myself and my hands. And I also realized that my playtime in Guilty Gear Strive, if you turn up and you look at the health bar, or the health, right? Health, Guilty Gear Strive. And you go look up the health. Effective health. And you sort them by lowest health first. You now see the 4 characters I spent the most time in. Chip, Milia, Saldo, Jacko. I have a problem, alright? I have a problem. I play low health characters. I play glass cannons. I have always played glass cannons, basically. I've always tried to play the hardest characters in every game I play. Why? Because I like it. I think it's cool to do hard execution shit. I have really good execution. And I'm a masochist. I like to see my health explode when I make a mistake. I like the danger. Anyway, that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed. We'll probably split these up into 2 videos, the tier list and the patch nerf change, but yeah. This is, again, just guesstimations. We'll be back with more info.